Hi, this is Jack, and we're going to check out Torchmate software. We have the Torchmate CAD and also the Torchmate driver software. The Torchmate CAD is a simple, easy-to-use CAD software that is fully supported by Torchmate. It allows you to bring in scanned images as well as just draw any shape, tool pathing, cut order, cut sequence, and it also can bring in any DXF from other programs. So if you're drawing in another CAD software, there's no reason to stop there. Or if you have a bunch of files that have already been drawn for you, you can bring them into Torchmate CAD and get them ready to cut. So let's check out Torchmate CAD and see what we can do. With the Torchmate CAD, there's the tools here on the left-hand side. So we'll start with just the shape tools and draw a basic shape to start. We'll start with a rectangle here. To draw a rectangle, I'll select the rectangle tool, and then I'll just click and drag, and that'll place my rectangle. Once it's placed, I can go in the top here and just type in the exact dimensions that I want that rectangle to be. For instance, if we wanted to make a 4-inch by 3.5-inch rectangle, just type it in and Torchmate CAD will size it for you. From there, what I can do is place, say, a circle right in the middle of that. Just go ahead and select the circle tool, click and drag, and that'll create my circle. I can then size that to be a 2-inch diameter circle. And then I can just create a center point basically for that circle so that I can center everything up off of that. Now we have a circle inside of the rectangle that we can get ready for cutting here. We'll select both objects and we'll tell the computer that the circle is part of the square, so it's a hole now. And what that does is it tells the computer, here's my square with a hole cut out of it. With Torchmate CAD, the important thing that it does is it will do tool paths. So anytime you're cutting, you want to specify the cut order. So you want to cut your inside parts out before your outside parts. You want to have a lead in, because when plasma pierces, the pierce point is a bit wider than the rest of the cut. So you don't want to start right on the cut. You want to pierce, say, in the middle of your circle and move in and pierce on the outside of your part. And you also want to offset, because when you're cutting with plasma, there's a certain thickness to that cut, and if you cut right on the line that you drew, your part's not going to come out the right size. So Torchmate CAD, when you tool path, will do all three of those automatically. So we'll just start out here, just create a tool path, tell it the length of the lead-in I want, tell it the tool that I'm using so it knows how much to offset, and we'll create that tool path. And so what you can see that Torchmate CAD did as I zoom in here is we have our original object and we have the tool path it created. The tool path it created is offset a bit to the outside for that thickness of the cut, so that when you actually cut it out, you'll get the right size rectangle. It also created a lead-in, which is this is where it's going to start cutting, so that you're piercing and you're not messing up your actual cut. So if we zoom out here and we look at the inside, we can see that it's cutting on the inside here, so you get the right size shape. The nice thing about Torchmate CAD is whether you're drawing in here or drawing in another program, bringing it into Torchmate CAD and tool pathing ensures that you're getting the right size parts with a clean cut every time. This is ready for cutting, and if we wanted to, we could go take this out and cut it. But we want to do a more advanced shape, so I'll delete the tool path for now. We have our advanced shape here. Let's say we wanted to round a corner. I can go up to transform and tell it to round a corner. Enter the radius of the corner. Click on the corner I want to round, and then close it. So now that corner is rounded. At the same time, if I wanted to insert a slot, I can do that, and I'll turn off the fill here. Just a useful tool to keep track of where your holes are and everything, but go ahead and draw a slot in here. I can size this as to whatever I want. I can then tell the CAD, I want to cut this out as a slot. Get rid of our little remnant here. So now we have a slot in this part. Again, if we wanted to cut this out, we can go ahead and just tool path it. Torchmate CAD is useful for drawing pretty much any shape, but if you had a bitmap, a JPG, or any other type of image from the internet or something you've drawn in another program, you can bring that in and create a toolpath on it as well and get that ready to cut. So I'll bring in an image here real quick. I'll go ahead and place that. Now it's rather small, and I can just grab it and size it up, or again, just like anything else, I can type in the size that I want. Let's make it 5 inches by 5 inches. We'll just zoom in on that. So here we have a bitmap, just something drew up off the internet. I'll go ahead and convert it just to black and white, so no grays or anything like that. And then we'll use our scan tools that are built into Torchmate CAD. And we'll go ahead and just do a quick trace on this. And what Torchmate CAD will do is it'll go around and it'll find all of the lines of the image there. So we can close that now. And what we have is we have our original bitmap. And if I move that off to the side, we have the trace of the bitmap that we just did here. This is a simple trace of this object, and depending on what type of object this is or what quality of image you have, the trace settings can be changed to get you the best quality. So we're done with this image, and now we can go ahead and delete that, and we can work with our trace and get it ready to cut something out here. So the first thing that I see is we want to go ahead and tell Torchmate CAD that this is all one object. And we can see in here that it sees it all as cutouts and everything like that. Now, one thing that when you're bringing in any image, it's just going to go ahead and trace that image. And that image might not be suitable for cutting right off the bat, but we can make it as such. So I can see here on these little rims that we just cut those out. Those little things will just fall right out. They're not attached. So we can either bridge them to the rest of the sign, or we can even just get rid of them. So for this one, we'll just go ahead and get rid of them. We're cutting something out here pretty small. So I'll, again, turn off our fill and go ahead and break this into the individual components. So now I can go ahead and select all of these individual components, get rid of whatever I want. So I'll go ahead and get rid of the inside of these tires. And then I'll go ahead and make it one object again. So now what we're left with is just a nice simple little sign created from a bitmap image. So I can go ahead and toolpath this. So we'll go create a toolpath, cutting with plasma, and we're going to have a lead in. So hit OK, and now we've created that. So I can go ahead and select my toolpath, and I can export this out. Take it to the cutting software. So we'll call this sign 1. So we'll open up the Torchmate driver software here, and this is the software that controls the table, comes with all Torchmate tables, and we'll go ahead and import in the toolpath we just created. So it's sign 1 right here. And it's going to want to create the G code, which is the industry standard cutting commands for any machining process. So I'll go ahead and save that as well. And then it's going to allow us to specify our cut speed. And that depends on the material that you're cutting as well as the torch you're using. So for our particular application, we're going to go 95 inches a minute. I'll go ahead and hit OK there, and it's going to bring this in. So what the Torchmate driver software has done, it's created a G code based on the toolpath that we created. And it's also given you a visual display of how it's going to cut. So there's solid lines that indicate actual cuts, and there's dotted lines that indicate where it's going to move. So I can go ahead and just hit start here. And it's going to go ahead and simulate exactly what it's done. And we can see that because we toolpath in the Torchmate CAD, the driver software is cutting out the inside of the parts first, so the inside cuts. And then once it's finished with that, it's going to go ahead and cut that outside out. So as the driver software is running, it's giving you kind of a countdown here of how long the program is going to take, as well as what line of G code it's on. So now that it's finished, it will return home. Part's cut and looks good. We're ready to go. A couple other things I just want to show you real quick before we take this out and cut it out. Back in the Torchmate CAD software, and this is really where we spend most of our time. The driver software really just controls the table and cuts out what we draw. So we'll go ahead and I just want to show a couple other things for you guys. As mentioned, Torchmate CAD can bring in a DXF from any other program. So I have a DXF drawn in a different CAD software that I'll go ahead and just import in here. And again, just like the scanned image, I'll place it. It's going to give me some options as far as how I want to export that DXF, and these options can be set based on what program's creating that DXF. What Torchmate CAD did is it imported in this DXF created in another program, and now I'm able to treat this just like anything else in Torchmate CAD. I can toolpath this, I can nest it, I can duplicate it, and I can actually make changes to it. So for this one, I just want to show nesting. What nesting allows you to do, and I'll turn on our material blank here. Nesting allows us to have the computer automatically go through and arrange parts and maximize the amount of material that you're going to be using. So we have our imported DXF here, but I'm going to go ahead and just quickly draw a few basic other shapes to show what Torchmate CAD can do. So we'll have a couple little arches here and maybe a couple polygons. And then what I'm going to do just real quick is make a bunch of copies of these that we want to cut out. And then I can go ahead and I can go up to nesting here. And what nesting is going to do is it's going to start at a certain corner, go a certain direction, try rotating parts in a certain amount that I've specified, as well as space between the edge of the material, space between the parts, mirroring the parts, fitting the parts together. Once I hit apply here, the computer's going to go ahead and think for a second and try and arrange all these parts. So as it finishes up here, you can see that it went through and arranged all the parts to maximize the use of your material. Torchmate CAD can do this with one part or can do it with thousands of parts. And it creates a money-saving option for you when you're drawing with Torchmate CAD. So these parts could be toolpathed and recut as well. So we've looked at a couple features of Torchmate CAD, and these are by no means all of them. With your Torchmate CAD purchase, or with any of our table purchases, you get free and unlimited technical support. They can answer questions about Torchmate CAD or anything else. Torchmate has all of the tutorials as well as how-to videos online available for download, so you can check those out as well.